to Mediocre Cover Band Guitar Guy. And I know I released a video yesterday concerning dealing with stage fright and just some possible things you can use to overcome getting lost in your own head, because that's where stage fright typically comes from in a lot of cases. Overthinking and things like that. Today, however, I'm here with a rant video. And it stems from a conversation, two conversations I had with people that I have a lot of respect for. Call them out now. One being Pete Hamlin, drummer extraordinaire. I played with Pete in Two Guitars Clash and really enjoyed playing with Pete. I played bass in Two Guitars Clash. I'll get into all that now in a minute. And Mr. Edward Kelly of the Birchmen, two fine musicians. Ed's rhythm playing and riff writing is probably as good as most of our lead work, and that is not something that's easy to do, man. I've seen Ed play live before when he was really young and was really taken back by his awesometicity. And as I said, I played in a band with Pete, and being a bassist and having to have that thing where you're just locked in with the drummer, it was really good because Pete was amazing at it. And it really amped up my rhythm guitar playing, being able to lock in that situation, because when you're in the rhythm section of a band, that's where you want to be. You want to be with the drummer and the bassist, and that's your job. Know your role. So my rant is going to start today with the word polished, and the whole conversation got started when Pete made a comment on my latest video, which was like I said, about dealing with stage fright. It's a video that was shot by Perry Mercer of Main Event Video Productions. Great guy to work with. Perry is somebody who puts in the work, and this is what this video is actually kind of about here tonight. Putting into work. And Perry puts into work, man. And I am a little bit biased because he's my drinking buddy. We drink a lot of beer together. But the amount of music that I've played with Perry in the last almost 10 years, this August the 12th, 2022, the Urban Legends, the band Perry and I playing, will be 10 years old. Perry started off as our original drummer, left for a little while, came back as our bassist, and jammed the other night with us. He can't make a gig with us this summer, and came in and jammed with us on guitar, which was freaking awesome. It was really good. So I've crammed a lot of music with Perry over the last 10 years, and it's awesome. So yes, I'm biased in that way, but the work he does, he's very busy doing a lot of weddings in the summer and things like that, and that's awesome because Perry does the work. So if you're looking to get anything put on video, I can't say enough about him. I'm serious, guys. Hire him. He's really, really, really worth it. Okay, so let's get back to task. All right. So the conversation started today with Pete and his comment, and saying that my videos should have more subscribers. Putting out a YouTube channel and putting yourself out there, yeah, you'd really like to have the subscribers in there, especially for an ego boost. But the fact is I'm not even old school anymore. I'm just old. I turned 50 in March, and kids in their 20s don't want to take advice. Even though I've been around for a very long time, doing this for like 34 years now. I've been through both the original music scene and the cover band scene. I never thought I'd play in a cover band ever, coming up at first. In my video I did a while ago about mental health and music, I never really covered why I got into playing. For me, it was bouts of isolation. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. Junior high and high school weren't great for me, so music sort of filled up a void of not really having a big circle of friends. And then when my friends that I did have had girlfriends and I didn't, because I mean, not many people and all this. I don't know, Tammy the girl, somebody once asked me if she had a wooden leg. She's out of my league, so I'm lucky. But the thing about it is we all got into music for different reasons, and I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that. but it's because I got a buzz. I'm drinking beer. No, but in all seriousness, we had the conversation today about music and about subscribers. I'm very thankful for the people that I have on my Facebook page. I'm very thankful for the 30 whatever subscribers I have on my YouTube channel. I never ever thought I would see any of my videos top 100 views. So to have that is pretty good. I'm giving advice here for people who are starting out in cover bands, because it's a lot different in a cover band situation than an original band situation. We just can't walk up to a club and go, hey, you got a free slot, I'd like to put a show together. And guys like Tony Murray, who support the shit out of the local original scene with the Rock House down there. I don't understand the tribute acts. I don't understand the cover band thing there, you know. But that's me. That's not anybody else. And that's not to knock Tony, because I have a lot of respect for what he does in giving young kids writing their own songs a great, because it's an awesome fucking club down at the Rock House. A great venue to play. So, and the ship for that matter. So kudos to you. But the conversation that came up about having the views, I'm not going to get them, and that's where it lies, because I'm not young, I'm not trendy. I was never trendy. I was never cool. It's like the Refreshments. I was never cool enough to work in a record store. If you ever want to check out a cool band. I was never cool or anything like that, so I'm not cool now. I'm even less so. And I can't offer people anything. I can't grab, they can't be nice to me and comment on my shit and then message me to get gigs, to get promotion for their band, or whatever. And unfortunately, that's a thing in our little community. I don't know what it's like elsewhere. I just know what it's like here. I have nothing to offer anybody, just advice. I can't give you credibility, and I can't give myself credibility, let alone give you credibility. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I understand, and I know, and I keep doing it, and I keep plugging through. And when I get up to like 21 views, like in a 24-hour period, I'm like, well, that's almost a person an hour, so that's pretty good. Maybe it's like a snail and it'll move 2 feet a day. Who knows? But after that comment and talking about being a part of the cool club, some of the things that Pete and I were talking about, the word polished came up. And I got a real gripe with that, because people talk about bands being too polished and musicians being too good and making fun of guys who put in the work to become awesome guitarists or awesome bassists, awesome drummers, awesome vocalists, or whatever. Or if you're Zen fucking Fear playing that little wood thing. If you put in the work, you put in the work, and that's what it's all about. So is it really polished, or is it just somebody putting in the work? And we've got so much talent in this province that gets held back by people who don't put in the work because they're trendy. So I'm going to just make a few comments, because I have been around the block, and you might say to yourself, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But here's the thing. If you're under 40 years old, you need to shut up, because you don't know what you're talking about. Well, if you're under 30 years old, I should say, because the guys in their 30s have probably been around a bit. So I'll take that back. If you're in your 20s, shut the fuck up and listen. Polished. When you say a band is too polished, what you're saying is that band put into work. Everybody in that band is a good musician, and they did their time. They played the gigs that you're currently playing. They understand their instrument. They know how to write a song. And this is the thing that you don't understand. Just because you wrote a song doesn't mean it's a good song. I can sit down here right now and write a song about farts. It'll probably be good, because I'm good at writing songs about farts. And, finding words that can rhyme with penis and vagina. I had a band when I was in high school called the Vicious Acords, shameless plug. And that's what we wrote about. But the fact is, just because you wrote a song doesn't mean it's a good song. So you need to get your horns in a little bit when you're calling a band polished. Is it your band's not polished because you're lazy? And sometimes that happens. You're that person. I'm not, because I don't know. There are a lot of female musicians out there as well, or theys, um, who go out and get their student loans and buy a guitar, and they learn that god awful drop D shit and write a riff when they're together with a drummer and a bassist who also only started playing a week ago. And where you're not rehearsing, you write a riff, and you're like, hey, that's a song. And then, hey, that's another song. And then when you go play a gig, you can't remember. And I told this story before. I watched a band that were supposed to be amazing start their own song 3 fucking times. The guitar player could not get the intro that he had written right. So I understand lo-fi is a thing, but some musicians reach for a standard. They have a benchmark, they have something, and pride. So when I talk about Pete's band, like say Hellfire Club being a hard rock band, or even Pete and I played Two Guitars Clash, those bands were polished. Do you want to know why? Because we did the work. Doug Rowe of Two Guitars Clash works really hard. I got to give him 100% credit. I left that band. I didn't really see eye to eye on a few things. I never lost my respect for Doug and still consider him a friend to this day. I was busy and in a different part of my life to where Doug was going to go with the music and what Doug was trying to do in his vision, and I felt like I was holding that vision back because I knew Doug was putting in the work. Not just with the writing the songs, contacting people, and everything else, but going back to writing the songs, Doug is never ever satisfied with something. Not because he's picky, not because he's a complainer or an asshole, but because Doug always wants it to be the best it can be. That's polished. And that's a good thing. To a degree, I guess. You don't want it to sound too mechanical as opposed to having, the human element to it. I understand that part. But you can put the human element into your playing, into your songs, and into musicality, and still have it sound professional, clean, and good. If you listen to people that are getting played on the radio right now, if you're seeing people that are starting to get to big shows, it's because they put in the work. And that's what polished is. It's putting in the work, putting in the time. So to say a band, if you're in a shitty band, and Pete, I'm not going to mention the name of this band or what actually happened in our conversation, but I went down a rabbit hole today. I had a shit ton of paperwork to do, and ended up cramming at the end of my day because I went down a rabbit hole on this band, and they're not good. Okay, folks, but for a member of that band to actually look up and say your band was too polished, no. His band is lacking. They're not talented people. They probably could be, but outside of talent, it takes work, okay, to sound good, especially when you're putting it on some sort of form, whether when you're recording and it's out there and it's out there forever. You should have something where you listen to it and go, I'm proud of that. Not in 10 years go, yeah, I don't know what we were thinking there. That's polished. That's good. That's putting the work in, okay? When you play a show, just because you have a full room, if you go down, and I don't know any names of these little bars anymore that people are playing, but if you're in the Holdsworth Square circuit and you're playing one of the bars there and you got a full room, you're 3 bands, and the room is wall-to-wall people, and the end of the night somebody comes up and gives you $9, then you got a problem, because those people didn't come there to see you or support you. They all went there before the cover was charged, so they could get in for free. They didn't want to pay $5 to see your band that's going to break up in 6 months scream incoherently on stage and support it and pay $5 for 3 bands to play a supposed killer show. So your use of the word polished in a degrading way is very offensive. Those guys that went out to see that show went there because that's where everybody else was going that night, because everybody will go check your band out once. The guys that, if you're 19 and you're playing in a band 20, the guys that you went to high school with, they'll go check your band out. They'll go see you play once. They won't go back, but they'll go see you play because that's where everybody else is going. There's nothing else to do, and they've got like 525 Indias. You go to the same club with 525 Indias and everybody's going to be there. You could take two homeless guys, put them on the stage, and get one finger in the other guy's asshole, and people are going to go and see it because it's cheap Indians. But they're going to go before the cover's charged. So those poor guys are going to go home at the end of the night going, well, what the hell was I fingering your asshole for? I walked away with nothing. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're fingering your bandmates' assholes because you're not polished. And that's what people are actually going out to see. So rethink your use of the word polished. And think to yourself, are you actually good enough to be doing what you're doing? And some guys will say, well, we're not in it for the money. But you're in it for something. Because you wouldn't play in front of a crowd if you weren't. If you're playing for fun, you'll stay in the basement. And so you're doing it for something. You're doing it because you want to be cool. You want to be noticed. You want to be the popular kid because that's where you were in high school. And now you're not in high school anymore and you don't know how to be popular with adults who don't know who the hell you are at your job. So you're in it for something. And if you're only playing a show where you're getting one crowd and then the rest of your shows are shit, then you really should think about when you're degrading another band by using the word polished in such a way. Polished, too polished. Yeah, if you're a pop band and you're bubbly gummed and you're fucking packaged that way, then that can be a bit of a problem too. But when you take a really good rock and roll band or a really good hard rock band or a good artist and you say, man, they're too polished, 9 out of 10 chances it's just because you know you are not and you're not good enough. So that's all I got to say. That's my rant. For all the people that put into work, thanks for putting into work. God love you, man. I envy you for putting into work. The guitar players that play 9 hours a day, keep doing it. Don't listen to anybody else. For the bands that keep working on songs and working on songs and reworking songs and reworking them again, keep doing it. Because at the end of the day, you're the ones that are going to stay doing what you're doing for a while. The bands that draw the crowds in Newfoundland aren't always the best bands. So think about that.